Okay, so today we are going to talk about what's going on with it's again current events. It's going on. We're going to talk about what's going on with you, and you've probably seen these videos with the ICE and the deportations, where a van will drive up to Home Depot or to a house, and they'll grab people and they'll put them in the car, and then they'll schedule them for deportation. Right? You seen those videos? No, some of them. Some of them are sad. You see some of them, some of them, they're being taken away from their families. And I agree, they're very sad. But we have to talk about what's going on with those videos and what's going on with all the deportations. Okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today. First thing we're going to talk about is who is being deported. Are they just now? There are some people. I'll see some people on the news saying they're kicking doors open and they're taking babies out of bathtubs that are naked and they're deporting them. They're just making it ridiculous. We got to figure out who's getting deported and why they're getting deported. Okay. Now the people are getting deported. We got to find out, are these honest immigrants that came to the United States looking for a better life and are trying to get a better life? Or are these illegal immigrants that have come here to take from the U.S. government and, in the end, take from the U.S. people? So we got to figure out, who are they deporting before we can figure this whole thing out, okay? So we're going to do a little thing here. I'm going to do a little comparison. This is just for illustration, okay? We're going to talk about two different people, okay? Both these people work in construction, okay? One guy is Joe, who is a legal U.S. citizen, okay? He's legal, has a social security number, okay? And is legal in the United States. The other guy is Jose, and is here illegally, but also has an illegal social security number. Okay? So these are the two people. Both of them work in the construction, all right? Now, Joe makes $25 an hour. Jose makes $15 an hour. Okay? Now, these guys, why you always see Home Depot, because we've hired people from Home Depot when we had an emergency. We needed to move some furniture right away. We needed to hire a bunch of people. We've gone to Home Depot. When you go in front of the Home Depot, guys swarm your car and they offer to work for you to be painters, gardeners, movers, whatever. When you ask them how much you got to get paid an hour, if you offer them $10 an hour, they laugh at you. They want between $15 and $20 an hour. And they want it cash right when they do the work. So they're not cheap. They get paid. Okay? So 15 an hour is on the low end. So now when you got, here's what's going on now. Let me go through these numbers. This, if he works 40 hours a week, this comes out to be $1,000 per week. Right? Sounds like a lot. That is $52,000 per year. Right? This one, if he works the 40 hours a week, gets, what's 600 times 52?
31,200.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, that's what I had written down. Okay. So Jose is getting $15 an hour times 40. That's $60 per week, 600 times per week, times 52, which is 52 weeks in a year. He's getting $31,230. No, about $200. Let's do this. Round it up. $200. This one is cash in his hand. No taxes. Before Joe Legal gets his paycheck, the government, for income tax, Social Security, Medicare, FICA, and all kinds of other stuff. So this gets taken out right away. So right away from his check comes off negative $21,000 in taxes. He doesn't get taxes taken out because it was cash under the table. So right away you can see that off the bat, they're making about the same amount of money because this is tax taken out. Now here's where it gets sad. Okay, from this, Joe, every year, because Obamacare is health insurance. Health insurance, Obama made it mandatory where you have to get Obamacare, otherwise you get fined or penalized on your taxes. So if you don't pay it, you get more of your taxes removed. So Obamacare, you have to pay it. So Joe, who's got a job legally and pays taxes, has to pay $600 a month in Obamacare health insurance. 600 times 12 is $7,200 a year. Jose, illegal, gets health insurance for free. Obamacare says taxpayers pay, illegals get it for free. Joe, who works legally and pays taxes, has to pay $1,000 a month in food for him and his family. That's a minimum. That's not going out to dinner. That's just going to the store, Smith's or whatever, and buying stuff on sale, bargain shopping. Times 12 is $12,000 a year in food. This is food. Jose, illegal, gets food stamps, gets more than this, more food, and gets it for free. Joe, who legally works and pays taxes, has to pay rent. And on a crappy, cheap apartment in Las Vegas, one-bedroom apartment, he's got to pay $1,200 a month, which is $14,000 a year. Jose, illegal, gets free housing subsidies, gets housing for free. Many times you'll even see, like in some places like Chicago and New York, they're staying in 5-star hotels for free with free housekeeping and maid services to make their beds and clean up rooms every day. Free. Joe, who pays taxes, has to get car insurance or risk getting arrested for not having car insurance. Car insurance for one person is $200 a month. If you have, like in our case, we have me, Mom, and Alex. If the three of us are insurance, it's $900 a month. But in this case, we're talking about just Jose, or just Joe. It's $200 a month or $2,400 a year. Jose, illegal, does not pay or get insurance. They say, I don't need no stinking insurance. I'll tell you a story about this real quick. I don't know if I ever tell you this story before. I was in a car accident one time in Chicago. Slightly my fault, but The other girl hit me. This was way before you were born. This is 20 years ago, Alex. So it's much worse now, but 20 years ago, I was in a car accident. I was driving a box truck, and when I rented the box truck from the renting company, from the insurance company, the trucking company, when I rented the truck from the trucking company, they asked you if you want insurance on it. And I said, what kind of insurance do you have? He says, we have this insurance, this insurance. The best insurance we have covers everything. If you get in an accident, he told me, you just come to us, throw us the keys, the car could be totaled. You just throw us the keys, we won't ask you any questions, you can go. I told him, give me that insurance. I want the best one. I got that insurance. Plus, I had my own insurance already. So I rented the truck. I was going to pick up some furniture that I was going to sell to somebody else. So I'm going through this truck. The box truck is really high. I went through a neighborhood. The box was very high, the truck. The tree was covering the street light, so I didn't see the street light. As soon as I cleared the branch, the street light appeared. I slammed on the brakes, because it was a red light, and this girl plowed into the side of the truck. She was okay. She had 2 kids in the car. They were okay. But her car was destroyed, leaking radiator fluid, and the whole side of the truck was caved in. So the police came, asked for driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. I gave them my driver's license, the insurance papers that I just got from the trucking company. The policeman said, no, we want your insurance. I said, this is my insurance. It's the best insurance I could get. He says, no, where's your insurance? Your one you're supposed to have for your car. I said, it's in my car at home. Of course, in the glove compartment. He said, you're going to have to stay here for a little while. We need that insurance or you're going to be under arrest. The other girl was an illegal immigrant. No citizenship, here illegally. Didn't have a driver's license. Her car was not registered. Had no insurance. After all was said and done, I was arrested. She was let go. And when I said to the policeman, wait. She don't have insurance. She's not here legally. The car's not registered. She doesn't have a driver's license. Why aren't you arresting her? The policeman told me, because she's illegal and she's not following the system. I was arrested. They didn't handcuff me. They didn't say I was arrested yet. They say I was being detained. But if I can't prove I had insurance, my own insurance, I would be arrested. So I had to drive the truck and follow them to the police department. And I had to call Mom on the phone and say, Mom, bring my car with my insurance in the glove compartment, the card, and come to the police station and show them. So I had to sit in the police department on the bench behind the glass, detained, borderline arrested, not fingerprinted yet, but borderline arrested, until Mom showed up, showed them the insurance card, and they let me go. That girl didn't have anything, nothing. So when they say, I don't need no stinking insurance, they don't need no stinking insurance. They don't have to get insurance, and nothing happens to them. They could plow into somebody. You know who's going to get sued? You. Why'd you let them plow into you? Because you have insurance. They don't. Okay? Now, do me a favor, Alex. Calculate. Take here, 52,000. Got it? Got it? Subtract 21,000 for taxes. Subtract 7,200 for health insurance. Subtract $12,000 for food. Subtract $14,000 for rent. And subtract $2,400 for insurance. What are we at?
Negative 4,600.
So all that's said and done, when Joe, how much was it? 46? When all that's said and done, Joe, who's got a legal job, legal Social Security number, pays taxes, at the end of busting his ass for 40 hours a week, is left with minus $4,600. How much does Jose got at the end of the year? All of his money, $31,200, because everything else was for free. Now, here it gets where even more sad. This is all before the phone is paid, the electricity is paid, the internet is paid. So let's go back here now. We're going to continue it. Jose, we don't even need Jose anymore. It's just Joe. Joe is already negative $46,000. How does he survive? He has to work 20 to 30 hours overtime to pay for that, the negative, and then also to pay for electricity, his phone bill, gas in his car to get to work, internet, Netflix, cell phones for him and all of his kids. So he has to work so now he's working 60 to 70 hours a week just to pay the bills. Just to pay the bills. Jose, on the other hand, has gotten everything for free. Does not have to work on the weekend, so can hang out with his family on the weekend. Now, is this system fair? Does that make sense so far? Ultimately, who is paying for all this free stuff?
Joe.
Joe is. Where do you think this taxes goes to? He is paying for it. Now, do you think of after living a life, working 60, 70 hours a week, every year, for year after year, after about 10, 20 years, you think someone's going to eventually get pissed off and say, I've had enough of this? That's why the people voted for Donald Trump. Because the people have said, we cannot take this anymore. We cannot work. See, Jose, in this case, is just one guy working in the house, everything for free, can take care of his family. His wife doesn't have to work. His kids don't have to work. He's gotten everything for free. Comes home, can spend time with his family, and has plenty to spend on extra stuff. This one, not only does Joe have to work, but his wife has to work to help pay the bills. And out of that, she has to pay taxes and blah, 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 and all that stuff as well. This is why people have had enough and they're pissed off. They've had enough and they want something to be done about it. Does that make sense so far? Okay. You can only squeeze a lemon so much and there's no more juice is going to come out of it. Does that make sense? Once you squeeze more and more and more, eventually, it's just going to crush it. Okay. Now, let's go back here again. Now, this is fine, I guess. Let's go into this further. What is the big difference between, besides Joe and Jose? Joe is legal, has a legal social security number. Jose is illegal, has an illegal social security number. What's the big difference between these two besides the money? Okay. The big difference besides the money is who they vote for. Now, you remember yesterday, we talked about voting, and there's legal voting and illegal voting. Joe votes Republican because he's a capitalist, wants to earn his own money, wants to pay taxes, wants to do what's right, and wants to live a life, but wants to be also left alone, wants to have the government leave me alone, let me do my best to work, and I'll do my best to work and take care of my family, but don't require me to pay for other people. So they vote for Republican, you're punished by having to pay for everything. You vote for Democrat, you get this. And remember how we talked about yesterday, are all these people going to vote for Democrats? No. But they don't care. They don't even want you to vote for them. The reason they gave them an illegal Social Security number is so that they can have a voter record for them. The deal is you vote Democrat every year if you want all these free things. Or don't vote. But don't vote Republican. You vote Republican, you're cut off. But either vote Democrat or don't vote. What happens when you don't vote? They have a record of who votes. That's why voting takes, now it takes months. You know, it takes months to occur. By voting day, they already know who's already voted for them. Everybody who has not legally voted for them, the Democrats will cast a vote for them. That's why you see a lot of this mail-in voting or boxes being brought in the middle of the night by the caseload because they've been voted for automatically. They take the voting record based on their Social Security number. They vote Democrat for them. They get the votes. These guys continue to get free stuff, and these guys remain in power. Does that make sense so far? So the difference is not only they get everything for free, but they're voting for the people who are giving that to them for free. Okay. Now, okay, so let me go over this here. You're with me so far, right? I know some of this stuff isn't fun to talk about, but it's important because I'm going to get to a point here in a second. So we were talking about in the beginning here. So why is ICE basically rolling up to people's houses or going to Home Depot and arresting people, right? They know who they're going after. When they go after people, they're going after specific people. Who do you think they're going after? They're looking for people who are raping the system and who have had an illegal Social Security number and who have cast an illegal vote. So it's much more than being a family in the United States trying to make a living. It's you've done something illegally on top of being here illegal. Let me do this here. Okay. So, who is being deported? Right? Remember yesterday also, we were talking about the government shutdown yesterday. Remember, we were talking about the government shutdown yesterday, and we were talking about that the government shutdown is where the Democrats wanted their fraud returned to them so they can continue to steal money. But we talked about that the Republican side, or at least Trump's argument was, the corruption has to end. So art of war, something has to be done. That's why the government shutdown happened, because art of war, something had to be done to shut down and remove the fraud. In this case, we're again, art of war. The American people cannot take being raped by the government in taxes over and over and over. So art of war, we voted for Trump to do something about it. Art of war, he started the deportations, mass deportations. Yes, it's sad when they grab a family and deport them. But are they deporting a family that came here with the American dream, who started a restaurant, who is making money and giving something to the community? Or are they deporting a family that came here, makes $30,000 cash under the table while sucking the life out of the welfare system and making us pay more taxes. I guarantee you, the ones who are being deported are not everybody. They're the ones that have either illegal social security numbers, have voted illegally, are collecting illegal benefits from the people. And I didn't finish the whole word. I just kind of shortcutted it.
Benno.
That's why I wanted to just put Benno, just so you know what I mean. Benefits. That's okay. In this case, it's okay. So that's what's going on. Art of war. I'll give you an example. We know people. We have friends that are Mexican or Hispanic. We have friends that are Cuban, friends that are Mexican. Are we afraid that they're going to get deported? No. You know why? They own businesses in the United States. They pay taxes to the government. They do everything legally, and they have never taken a penny in welfare, in food stamps, in free housing. Yes, their kids might go to the public schools for free, but they don't suck any money from the rest of the taxpayers, right? They pay their insurance on their cars, they pay their taxes, and they don't take anything out of the government in welfare, food stamps, or benefits, or housing subsidies. They work, they buy their own stuff like Joe does, right? So because they don't take anything, and they have never voted before, because they know they can't. They know the laws, and they abide by the laws. Are they going to be targeted? Their door's going to be kicked in? No, there's no reason to. They're doing what is expected of them. But the ones that are here illegally and are sucking the life out of the rest of the people like a leech, those are the ones they're going to be targeting. Because there's a record. If you have a fake social security number, there's a record of it. If you voted illegally, there's a record of it. They know your name. If you collected benefits illegally, they know. There's a record of it. You've got it. So when they go after people, they're going after people with specific names. Why? They know what you did. Does that make sense? Let me give you another example, too. Once you got a social security number, and the Democrats want you to vote for them, is there a record of you voting once? Many of these people voted in 2, 3, 4 different states. How? They have a record of them. They just registered them to vote in 3 or 4 different states. It's a huge criminal enterprise. They don't even know they voted for several states, but because they have an illegal social security number and they gave the Democrats permission to do it, they did it. That's who's being arrested and deported. And the more that these get deported, what's going to happen is the less burden that gets put on the people like Joe, who's paying taxes and who's working his ass off. But imagine Joe. Okay, imagine Joe. He's working his ass off. Not only has to pay for his family, but has to pay for 5 other families down the street who are here illegally. As each one of those is deported and removed, that's less money than the taxes have to come out of Joe's pocket to pay for families that are here illegally. So the reason we have to get all these deportations to take place is because we got to remove the burden from us so that we don't have to pay so much in taxes. Okay? All right, this is what I wanted to go through. I want to get to this. So here. So art of war again. So our families being deported? Yes. And more will be deported. Okay? And the more will be deported because there are too many families that are here illegally that are taking from the U.S. people. They're taking from the U.S. people. They're not giving anything back to the government, to the people, to the community. They're just taking. They're taking jobs from legal people. They're taking benefits. They're taking food. They're taking rent. They're taking housing. And then you have the families that are giving, working, and paying taxes. Right? And the problem is the more these people take, the more the giving people have to give. Okay, now this is what I want to get to too. Why is all this going on right now in the government? Why is certain people, and it's not just the illegal immigrants, okay? It's not just the illegal immigrants. It's also, like we talked about with LBJ, and a lot of the black people. And it's also a lot of people, a lot of times with the Muslims. Remember how I talked about Muslims? With the Muslims, only 5% of Muslims actually work. The women, none of the women work, and all the women have 5 or more children. Their children don't work. And only 65% of the men, only 35% of the men work. So 65% of the Muslim men don't work. So if you add all that up, that's 95% of Muslims do not work in the United States. They're collecting free welfare. So when you have illegal people in the country stealing from the government, sucking the life out of the government, out of the people, then you have 95% of the Muslims in the United States stealing from the government, sucking the life out of the government. And then you have all the black people who are not working, refuse to work, stealing from the government, sucking the life out of the government. Eventually, you can't take it anymore. The reason this is going on right now is because the United States is the most giving country in the entire world. The United States gives more money in the world. The United States gives more money to other countries than it gives to the U.S. citizens. You know, with that $6.5 trillion we talked about yesterday, more of that money goes to other countries than stays in the United States. The United States pays more outside of the United States than it takes in. Than it pays to U.S. citizens. The United States also pays more money to other countries than any other country in the world. Also, if you took any 5 countries in the world, any 5 countries, the United States pays more to other countries than any 5 country in the world pays. That's how generous the United States is. It's because the United States is Christian, most of it. Christians are taught by Jesus that to love everybody, to even love the ones that hate you, and take care of the world, pay for everything. So, like I was saying here, the United States is the most giving, the most Christian giving country in the entire world. But there comes a point, and we've reached that point a long time ago. There comes a point when you can't give anymore. There comes a point like we're giving too, we give everything too, but we have to feed our own family. Joe can't give to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 families in his neighborhood because there eventually comes to a point where you can't even feed your own kids anymore. So enough has to go. So Art of War, everybody has been feeling this for the last 10, 20 years. And somebody came along and said, this has to end. You cannot suck the life out of the American people because we can't take it anymore. So we voted for someone to end the madness. And the only way to end the madness is to remove the theft, the leeching, the stealing. And the only way you got to do it is you have to deport and remove the people who are abusing the generosity of the American people. Imagine we have a nice house, right? Imagine we have this nice house and we decide we wanted to help a family. We let them in, we let them sleep wherever they want to sleep. We feed them, we give them clothes, we take care of them. Then there's another family. They need help. We take them in. We give them food, clothing, electricity, and another family, and another family. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where you're going to come and say, can we have something to eat today? And we're going to be able to say, all we got is rice, and we have to portion that out too, because we got 30 people in the house, 40 people in the house that have to eat 3 meals a day, and they need to eat too. So there's no more meat, there's no more fruit, no more vegetables. Everyone gets rice or dried noodles, and you don't get a lot of it, you just get a little bit. Eventually, you can't take it anymore, because you can't, if you abuse someone's generosity, you destroy them eventually. Does that make sense? Because eventually it gets to the point where you got to go, okay, everybody, get out of my house. I got to take care of my own kids. You guys go out somewhere else and do something on your own. Take care of your own damn kids. Stop abusing me and stop taking money away from my kids. That's what's going on. Okay. I'll just say this real quick because it's kind of important. You know, you'll see this on Facebook too, especially with in TikTok. You'll see people protesting, and you'll see most of them are like white hippie people, and they're like, "Give the illegals, give the illegals." When you ask them, but do you understand they're here illegally? They're not paying taxes. They're getting welfare. They're getting free rent. They're getting free food, free this, free that, free that. And the hippies will go, "I don't care. Just give it to them." And then the people will say to them, "Okay, here, we have a family right here. Why don't you take them in and take care of them?" "Oh, no, 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 not me. I'm not going to take care of them." But you're the one that wants to give the free stuff. Does that make sense? So if the United States had a program to opt in or opt out, it would be a voluntary program. You want to give free stuff to illegals? You opt into the program. Like we talked about before, you want to be an organ donor? Check the box. You can be an organ donor. You want to die and give your organs away? Go ahead. You don't want to? Check the box and you opt out, right? So if they had a program where you want to give your stuff away to illegal immigrants and to black people and to Muslims, check the box. You opt in. I opt in to pay extra taxes to give stuff away to people who don't want to work. Opt in. I opt out. If they had a program like that, God bless them, do it. You want to give, you give. The problem is these people don't want to opt in because they're already not contributing. They're most likely in the same boat as the illegals. They're getting welfare, food stamps, free, because they're on the right side of the government, the Democratic side. So they're getting free stuff, and by getting free more stuff for the Muslims, the blacks, and the illegal immigrants, they're also getting more free stuff for themselves. Does that make sense? So the ones that want to support it, if you ask them directly, okay, give them a couple $100, take them in your house. No, I'm not doing that. I want the people to pay for it, because the more the people pay for it, the more I also get in return too, because they're leeching on the system as well. So you have to, almost like a detective, when you watch these videos, analyze, why are they doing that? They're doing it because they're getting something out of it as well. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions? When you're watching, if you get in a conversation, especially, what I'm trying to do is prepare you guys almost as if you were in college. Luckily, I didn't send you to college, because once you go to college and you become indoctrinated in that, and they teach you, give everything for free, do this, do that, do this, do that, you get so sucked into it, you get so brainwashed into believing that's the only way to go that you don't get it. I want you guys to get taught on the outside, so that if you ever meet one of them, you'll be able to have a conversation with them. You know what I mean? Where you can explain to them. And that basically you're going to be able to explain to them that certain things have to be done fairly amongst everybody. You can't crush one people in order to give another people free. This goes back to the socialism. If you got one people who are struggling hard to get straight A's and one people who are just getting straight F's, you can't combine both grades and give everybody a C. Because eventually the people who get A's will stop trying and will get B's and C's. And then before you know it, everyone is getting D's and F's. And in this regard too, if you keep crushing the people who are working and paying the taxes, eventually they're going to realize, like Joe did, that he works all this time just to make no money at the end of the year. Works 70, 80 hours a week to have no money at the end of the year. Eventually you get crushed to the point where you give up. And if everybody in the world gives up, then the whole country is doomed. And what happens when the whole country is doomed? Remember, the United States is the most giving country in the world. If you crush the whole United States where they all give up and stop making, they can also no longer give to anybody else as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.